Good morning, great Americans. It's another great American video from Kentucky. Behind the plastic great American. I was thinking of Rush Limbaugh, how he always used to say he was behind the golden EIB microphone. And I'm behind the plastic great news links microphone. Well, hey, I've made several videos from different perspectives about the midterm elections are coming up and how crucially important it is to get out the vote and get out that excitement that you had to get Trump reelected and to get out and get Republicans elected so that Trump can have a Congress he can work with. He's doing pretty darn good with a crappy Congress. Imagine how much good he could do with a new Congress. Anyway, that's not what this is about. Well, it is a little bit, but so I'm going back and redoing some really old videos. And there was a video I made about 4 years ago about the racism of Democrats. Now, unfortunately, the topic had expired. The point of the video was back when Joe Manchin, this Democrat Joe Manchin, he decided to put country ahead of party, and he voted against a spending bill that, I mean, was just insane. And 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 you know what happens when you go against the Democrats? You automatically incur several labels. You're a fascist. You're a racist. You hate. You're a hate. So anyway, Joe Manchin voted against this budget because it was a budget buster. Well, of course they all are these days, but it was really bad. And they started screaming at him that he was a racist, which is the stupidest thing in the world. But all it took was one step out of line with the rest of the jackbooted fascist Democrats. You put one boot out of step, and then they just descend on you like an avalanche of hatred, and it's just astounding. And so now most people have forgotten about that. That was about 4 years ago when I made the video. But the bigger point of the video is that the race, this this whole song and dance and manufactured bullshit about racism is just that. Now, some people are starting to catch on. I see some stuff on social media, and a lot of people of color, Hispanic, blacks, and whites, and everybody, um, are starting to catch on that the constant cry of racism from Democrats in the left is nothing more than a fabricated hologram. It's a ghost. It doesn't even exist. Now, you saw at the beginning of this video, there was a picture of Michael Jackson with Ronald Reagan. Why did I choose that? There it is. Why did I choose that picture to put on the video? I'll tell you why. I am convinced that race relations in America were steadily improving, right? And one thing about television is very often, or it used to, not so much these days, but for almost the entire history of television, it would be almost a sort of a reflection of of mainstream America, right? And one of the interesting thing is when you watch some TV in the very late 60s and going into the 70s, you start to notice black characters coming into television. A lot of people don't remember, like in the late 60s and the 70s, you had TV shows like Room 222, very integrated show about high school. And then, of course, in the 70s, you had everybody remembers the Jeffersons and stuff. But you also had Good Times. But then when you got into the 80s, in the 70s, so that was a reflection of, society was changing. right? And in the 80s, now, as far as in the 80s, I think that we had just about overcome racism. And you're always going to find a few pockets of racism in every race. Black races, white races, Hispanic races. There's always going to be a few pockets, but generally speaking, we had overcome. I believe we had just pretty much overcome widespread racism in the 80s. That's why I like that picture of Michael Jackson. You know why? Because Michael Jackson was the king of pop. Right? In the 50s and the 60s, it was Elvis Presley was the king of pop. Michael Jackson, a black kid, was the king of pop. And who do you remember, on speaking of television, do you remember who America's favorite father was? Now, in the 50s and the 60s, would have been some white guy, right? I believe there was a show called Father Knows Best in the 50s or the 60s, and he was like America's father for a while or something like that. But in the 80s, America's favorite father was Bill Cosby. That's right. The Cosby Show and the Huxtable family. Now, this was interesting because, first of all, he was America's favorite dad, and he was black. And he was still America's favorite dad. And not only that, but the show reflected, it didn't show like poor black people like in like Good Times, the comedy show Good Times. You know, in this one, Dr. Huxtable, he was a doctor. His wife is a lawyer, right? They're upper class, they're upper income class, beautiful home, beautiful kids, blah, blah, blah. And this was what America was accepting. And I believe so. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. This is very important. Democrats have always relied on hatred and division to maintain power, right? We don't need to forget that it was the Democrats who fought to keep slavery legal. Yes, you've heard me say this before, and I'm going to say it again because you have to remember it was the Democrats that fought to keep slavery legal. It's the Democrats who started the Civil War. And when they lost the war, they do what Democrats always do when they lose. They cheat and they terrorize. So they invented the KKK. They invented Jim Crow laws. They invented segregation. They invented all kinds of kooky stuff to keep black people from voting. And that's what the Democrats do because they rely on hate and violence for power. Because when you can play people against each other, now they rewrite history too. They want you to think that they're the ones that passed the Civil Rights Act, which is bullshit. The Democrats were all voting against it. It was Republicans that put it over the edge. Check your history. It was Republicans that invented the Republican Party in Texas. I mean, it was black people that invented the Republican Party in Texas. So the point is, they're liars. Okay, and so when in the 1980s, race relations were getting better, the Democrats began their manufacturing of hate and racism to keep racism alive. They invented a cottage industry, a racist industry where they had certain people who were always out agitating. And let me tell you on the mainstream news, who is the number one agitator of race hatred? They do it for the Democrats. That's CNN. CNN and frankly ABC too's that well we'll go there right now. But they keep hate alive. And I'm here to tell you something. All the stuff you hear today about racism, hate, was manufactured by the Democrats. And sadly, now they have got a certain percentage of followers to believe it. You will find genuinely hateful, racist black people, in young people in colleges and stuff, because they've been brainwashed by this stuff. They believe in their white supremacy, uh, all this bullshit. They believe that CRT is actually a good thing when CRT is nothing more than legalized hate and racism. They believe that white supremacy is a thing. I just saw a video I wish I could find this video. There was a young black guy video, and he made a video on YouTube, and he was saying, he was saying the same thing I'm saying, that this bit about white supremacy is all bullshit. He goes, I travel from town to town in Texas and the South, and he goes, I go into small little dinky towns that only have a few hundred people. They're all white people. He goes, I've never had anyone be rude to me. I've never had anyone be racist to me. He goes, I meet red hat, make America great again, and red hat people, and they're always polite to me. He goes, I don't see this racism and this white supremacy that everybody's talking about. And he's right, because he's smart enough to go out, among the people and see for himself, is this stuff true? And it's not true. So why am I bringing this up now? Because the 2026, listen, the 2026 midterms are coming, and Trump has been a success. The Democrats have nothing, nothing. All they have to run against Trump is hate, racism, and the Epstein files. That's it. And so you are going to see the normal levels of lies and fake news from CNN, ABC, CBS, and the rest regarding their manufactured racism and hate. You're going to see it skyrocket. You are going to see just everything is going to be, oh, Trump's a racist, Trump is full of hate. That's all you're going to see, because that's all they have. And I'm here to tell you that it's a gigantic lie. I'm here to tell you again, I'm 60 something years old. I have seen with my own two eyes how racism and race relations evolved in America, and how they got so good in the 80s. I love the 80s, by the way. I sure miss the 80s for a number of reasons. But it got so good in the 80s that it was practically disappeared, right? And then came the race baiters and the agitators. Because without racism, by the way, here's a statistic for you, which is a truth. This was always known for, throughout, I'd say, throughout the 80s, the 90s, and until recent times. It was always a known fact among political analysts that well, first of all, it was just a known fact, period, that almost every black votes for Democrats. Why? I have no idea. Because the Democrats have done nothing but destroy blacks from the get-go. But anyway, they almost all vote for blacks. And it was a known fact that if Republicans could peel away like 25% of blacks, if there should ever come a day when the messaging finally got through blacks to blacks, that and 25% of them peeled away and started voting Republican, that would be the end of the Democrat Party. That's how much the Democrat Party depends on blacks. That if black voting ever went from 100% down to about 75% for Democrats and 25% for Republicans, the Democrat Party would be dead. So, as I said, in the 80s, you start to see the end of hatred. And along with that, you start to see something else. What did I say about television being a reflection of reality? America's favorite dad, Dr. Huxtable, black family, well off, right? He's a doctor, she's a lawyer. What does this mean? When you have skin in the game, when you are paying, when you are making a lot of money and therefore paying a lot of taxes, you start to see the things that poor people do not see. Poor people don't pay income taxes. They don't care where the money goes because it's not coming out of their pocket. They're hoping that tax money goes into their pocket. That's why poor people almost always vote for Democrats, because Democrats use welfare and all that kind of stuff to buy votes. And so with the ascension of black families into middle class and upper class income class, upper middle income class and upper income class and wealthy doctors and lawyers, you see them becoming Republican because two things are happening. They are not the old folks from back in, the old days. They have skin in the game because now they're paying taxes and they don't like paying taxes, just like nobody likes paying taxes, right? They don't want to pay that. And race relations are getting better. And when you add all those three up, people are starting to leave the Democrat Party. Now under Trump, and you can look this up, you can Google it, black people, black men especially, but black people in general, are steadily leaving the Democrat Party. Steadily leaving. That is when the power brokers in the Democrat Party got nervous and scared because, like I said, it has always been a political truth that if the Republicans can peel away just 25% of the black vote, just 25, the Democrats can keep 75. But if we peel away 25, that is the death of the Democrat Party. And that is why they geared up the manufactured hate and racism. All this stuff about white supremacy is a lie. It's a lie. It doesn't exist. All this stuff about whites hating black people is a lie. It's a lie because they need those votes. And here's a big one. That is why the Democrats flip-flopped on immigration party and started allowing illegal aliens to come into the country because they need a new base of voters because they know blacks are leaving. So now, rather than just do the right thing and have good policies that attract people, Democrats don't think like that because they're extremists. They have bad policies. They have horrible policies. That's why they rely on hate and violence for power because nobody likes their policies. They're about big taxes. They're about sexualizing children in schools. I mean, putting pornography in elementary schools. What kind of policy is that? Nobody likes that shit. Nobody likes transgenders and women's in sports. Men in sports. Nobody likes that shit. Working class people don't like that crap. So the Democrats' policies are horrible. The only way they get votes is by hatred and violence. So they had to start doing two things. They had to start manufacturing fake racism and hate. It's all a big lie, but they try to do it to keep lower, less educated blacks in the Democrat Party because they actually convinced them that that stuff's true. And the other thing they did is fling the borders wide open to allow millions of uneducated illegal aliens to come in who they can lie to and find a way to get them a vote. And they are. It's illegal for it is illegal for illegal aliens to vote, and yet they do. The Democrats find ways around it. In New York, they get non-citizens to vote. In other states, they find this trickery and cheating to get it. That's what it's all about. So that's what's going on. But I'm here to tell you, before the 2026 midterms, that this giant lie about white supremacy and whites are racist against blacks and blah 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 that's a giant lie. It's a manufactured lie by Democrats because they know they're losing the black vote who they need to stay in power. And you're going to hear it. You are going to hear a never-ending parade of lies and hate from Democrats and their little minions in the fake news press rooms of CBS and ABC and the rest, because that's all they have to fight against Trump. All they have. They have hate, lies, and racism, and it's all fake. So I'm here to tell you, especially any black people that are listening to this video, don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hate. Okay? It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. You don't believe me? If you don't believe me, then I challenge you to turn off all your television and social media for a month and go out and just meet people. Go out to clubs and the bowling alley and baseball games and stuff, and just walk up to people. Say hi. How you doing? White people, black people, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to black people. Go up to white people and just start meeting people and interact with people as much as you can. And you tell me how many white supremacists you meet. You're not going to meet any because there aren't any. Oh, I mean, there may be a couple. There's probably enough there's probably enough white supremacists in America to fill up my bathtub, and that's about it. But no significant number. And even if there were, nobody would want anything to do with them, right? They all live in like one cabin in the Ozarks or something. So yeah, do what this one dude did that I told you about. He said this black guy, he goes from town to town, small towns, Texas, Arkansas, and he never sees any of the hatred. He sees the opposite. He sees MAGA people being most friendly and everything. Okay, and then you know, of course, what the Democrats say to that. Oh, they're just doing that in front of you. Really, behind closed doors, they hate you. Really? That's the best you got? Your white supremacy is so horrible that you can't even see it. It's all hidden, right? Really? Come on, man. Nobody can be that stupid to believe that shit. So, what the summation of this video is that race relationships were always getting better, and they were at their best in the 80s. Then black people started peeling away from the Democrat Party, and they've really peeled away now. And so, to stop that from happening, Democrats manufactured their own racism and hate, and they've sold that propaganda to a few people. There's people who believe in white supremacy, and they think that CRT is a good thing when it's not. And it is this, and that's really sad. That's really sad that weak-minded people have allowed themselves to be brainwashed and propagandized. Because I can tell you, listen, let me tell you something. This is very simple. Make America great again. People throw the MAGA around and they don't even know what they're saying. Make America great again. When you make America great, it's great for everybody. If prices are low and jobs are great and manufacturing is great and energy is available, and if things are going great, it goes great for everybody. Why would anybody not want to make America great again? Because when it's good for everybody, that means it's good for you too. So please don't believe the hatred, the fake hatred, and the manufactured racism and hatred from Democrats. Democrats are the party of hate and racism. Please vote Republican in these midterms and give Donald Trump the tools he needs to create to finish his good work. Finish his good work. He's not just tinkering around the edges of every president before him is just little tinkering and around the edges of the economy and the policies, maybe making a little change here and a little change there. Donald Trump is making the needed fundamental big changes, and that's causing a little pain in the short term. But that's the way it has to be. Look, if you're a heroin addict, right? And you want to get clean and sober, guess what? There's going to be a little period of horrible pain, throwing up and puking and sweating, and you want to fix a fundamental problem. You go through pain before you get to your goal, and that's what Trump is doing. So to all the people who did vote for Trump, stay the course. Don't get wobbly kneed now. Stay the course and get out of those midterms and vote red and give Trump the tools he needs to finish the job. And to especially black people and Hispanic people and other people, like I said, don't believe the hype. Don't believe the lies about white supremacy, and don't believe the lies that Republicans are racist. They're using that shit to get you to vote for them and their horrible, terrible policies. Don't do it. Okay? Think for yourself. And if you don't believe me, get out and meet people. Real people. Not fucking emojis on Facebook and on stupid shit. Get out and meet real people. See how many white supremacists you meet. I don't think you're going to find any. And anyway, so that's it for today. Thank you very much. Please share this video with your friends. Please follow us on social media, and please subscribe to our Substack page. It is free. Check the links that I put in the description of this video, and I will see you in the next great American video. Adios, muchachos.